everyone, welcome back to the class of literary readers. I am Pratibha and what I have observed is that students जो कि अभी beginner हैं, जो अपनी preparation करना चाहते हैं आने वाले UGC NET exam के लिए, but they don't know the actual syllabus of UGC NET exam. इस वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे यूजीसी नेट का जो सिलेबस है एक डिटेल वे में हम उसको डिस्कस करेंगे ताकि आप सभी को थोड़ा आइडिया हो सके कि हाउ यू कैन स्टार्ट योर प्रिपरेशन फॉर द अपकमिंग यूजीसी नेट एग्जामिनेशन। बट बिफोर दैट अगर आप इस चैनल पर नए हैं तो डोंट फॉरगेट टू सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल एंड लाइक दिस वीडियो एंड क्लिक द बेल आइकन ताकि आप लोग आने वाले अपकमिंग वीडियोस के लिए अपडेटेड रहे। Now let us start our discussion on the UGC NET English syllabus. Okay, so this is your entire syllabus of UGC NET examination, which is divided into 10 units. In first unit, we have drama, then poetry, fiction, short story. Then in fourth unit, we have non-fictional prose. And यहाँ पर एक note भी लिखा हुआ है which says that the first 4 units must also be tested through comprehension passages to access critical reading, critical thinking and writing skills. तो आपको एग्जाम में एक पैसेज दिया होगा उसको आपको करना रहेगा। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस पैसेज एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज यहाँ पर लिखी हुई है, these 4 units will cover all literatures in English. So, to cover these 4 units, which is drama, poetry, fiction, short story, non-fictional prose, you have to read all literatures in English. जो कि हम आगे आने वाली स्लाइड में डिस्कस करेंगे कि आपको कौन कौन सा लिटरेचर पढ़ना रहेगा इन चारों यूनिट्स को कवर करने के लिए। Then in fifth unit we have language, basic concepts, theories, pedagogy, English in use. Then in unit 6, English in India, history, evolution and future, cultural studies, theories, criticism, research, methods and materials in English. So ये आपका entire syllabus रहेगा UGC NET का. In the next slides, we will discuss it in a complete way. ओके सो द फर्स्ट इस स्लाइड में हम डिस्कस करेंगे द फर्स्ट 4 यूनिट्स जो कि है आपकी ड्रामा, पोइट्री, फिक्शन, शॉर्ट स्टोरी। नॉन फिक्शनल प्रोज आपका है एसेज, बायोग्राफी, ऑटोबायोग्राफीज। ओके, तो फर्स्ट 4 यूनिट्स में आपको क्या क्या चीज कवर करना रहेगा? ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर, अमेरिकन लिटरेचर, इंडियन लिटरेचर, कैनेडियन लिटरेचर, अफ्रीकन, ऑस्ट्रेलियन, कैरिबियन एंड यूरोपियन लिटरेचर। सबसे पहले हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर को। टू कवर द फर्स्ट 4 यूनिट्स यू विल हैव टू रीड ऑल द लिटरेचर जो अभी हमें इससे पहले वाली स्लाइड में डिस्कस किया, ब्रिटिश, अमेरिकन, कैनेडियन, ऑस्ट्रेलियन, कैरिबियन लिटरेचर एक्सेट्रा। नाउ ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर में आपको क्या क्या पढ़ना रहेगा? तो ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर स्टार्ट होता है ग्रीको रोमन पीरियड से टिल द प्रेजेंट एरा in which you have these writers, these important writers. यहाँ पे बस मैंने कुछ important writers को लिया है ताकि आप लोगों को थोड़ा आइडिया हो सके that how you are going to cover these 4 units. All right. For example, from the Shakespearean era, we have the writer William Shakespeare. From the Puritan age, we have John Milton. From the Augustan age, we have Alexander Pope, who has written the mock heroic poem called The Rape of the Lock. Then, from the Victorian period, we have Great Expectations, which is written by Charles Dickens. And also Thomas Hardy, who is also an important writer from the Victorian era. Then from the modern period we have George Orwell, जिनका Animal Farm बहुत ही important है. Then we have Virginia Woolf. And apart from modern era, we have the postmodern writers like Angela Carter and Janet Winterson, who has written the work called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. सो ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर में आपको ग्रेको रोमन पीरियड से स्टार्ट करके प्रेजेंट यानी जो अभी के जो कंटेम्प्रेरी राइटर्स हैं उनको आपको कवर करना है. Then if we talk about the American literature, then we have the writer who is from American Transcendentalism, Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who has written the works related with self-reliance, nature, and freedom. Then we have father of modern American poetry, Walt Whitman. Then from the dark romanticism, we have the most important writer in American literature, Nathaniel Hawthorne, who has written the work called The Scarlet Letter. Now, this work is based on the themes of sin, guilt, and moral hypocrisy of the society. Moving into the poetry and American literature, we have the writer Sylvia Plath, who is known as the confessional poet in American literature. Then we have the poetry of Emily Dickinson. इनकी जो poetry है is based on the themes of love, immortality, death. Then in American realism, we have the father of American fiction called Mark Twain. इनके जो works है, The Adventure of Huckleberry Finn, The Adventure of Tom Sawyer are based on the themes of social injustice and poverty. Then finally, in modern American literature, we have the beat writers, the writers from the beat generation, like Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, who talked about freedom, rebellion, and spiritual search in their works. Moving into Indian literature, we have one of the pioneer of Indian English fiction, आर के नारायण. इनके जो novels है उनकी जो setting है वो based है एक fictional town which is known as मालगुड़ी. Then we have Mulkraj Anand, who talked about social injustice, caste discrimination in his works like The Untouchable and Coolie. Then we have the father of Indian English poetry, Nizam Ezekiel. Apart from Nizam Ezekiel, we also have an Indian poet, Arun Kolatkar. Then we have Kiran Desai, who has won the Booker Prize for her novel Inheritance of Lost. Then we have Arundhati Roy. इनका जो work है God of Small Things also won the Booker Prize. Moving into Canadian literature, we have some of the most important writers in Canadian literature, like we have Margaret Atwood and Alice Munro, who is known as the master of English short stories. Alice Munro also won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Then we have Michael Ondaatje, who has written the work called The English Patient. This work won the Booker Prize. Then we have Ian Martel, who has written the work Life of Pi. Now, this work, uh, uh, we also have a film adaptation of this work, Life of Pi, which won the Oscar Prize, all right, in the year 2013, I guess. So, in Canadian literature, we have these some of the most important writers. Moving into the African literature, we have some of the most important writers like Chinua Achebe, who talks about African identity and their struggles in society, in African society. Apart from Chinua Achebe, we have the Nobel winner, Nadine Gordimer, and also I have made separate videos on these two writers, Chinua Achebe and Nadine Gordimer. You can go and check out these two videos on my channel. I will provide the link in the description box. Okay, apart from these two writers, we have Sol Wol Soyinka, who has also won the Nobel Prize in Literature, and he has written some of the most important works like Madman and the Specialist and Dance of the Forest. Then we have J.M. Coetzee, who has written the work called The Disgrace, and this work also won the Booker Prize in Literature. Then we have Australian literature, in which we have Patrick White, who has written the work called Tree of Man, and this writer also won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Then we have David Malouf, uh, whose Jono is the most important work in Australian literature. Then we have Eddie Hope, who is the master of Australian poetry. And last we have Peter Carey, the contemporary Australian writer Peter Carey. And this writer got the Booker Prize for his novel called Oscar and Lucinda. Now, let me tell you about the Caribbean literature in which we have these writers. We have Jean Rice, who has written the work called Wide Sargasso Sea, which is a rewriting of the work Jane Eyre. Then we have George Lemming, Jamaica Kincaid, Derek Walcott, and Kamau Braithwaite. Now, इनके जो works है, which is based on the themes of identity, slavery, and colonialism. Moving into our next slide, we have European literature, in which we have French literature, German literature, and Russian literature. And these are some of the most important writers in French literature, like we have Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus. In German literature, we have Franz Kafka and Bertolt Brecht. In Russian literature, we have Dostoevsky and Anton Chekhov. Okay. So in first 4 units, what you have to read is we will study British literature, American literature, Indian literature, Canadian literature, then African literature, then we'll have to study Australian, Caribbean, and European literature. So to cover these 4 units, we will have to study all literature which we have discussed in these slides. Now let us talk about Unit 5th and Unit 6. Now in Unit 5 and 6, we will study the language, how language works, and the terms related with linguistics, like we have phonetics, morphology, and semantics. And English in India, how the language English came to India. The history of English in India, the evolution and futures of English, the language English in India. Then in Unit 7, uh, okay, so this is the last slide of this video. In unit, we have to study cultural studies, like how literature and culture are interconnected with each other. We will have to study the thinkers like Raymond Williams, Stuart Hall. Then in Unit 8, we will study literary criticism starting from Plato till T.S. Eliot, etc. Then Unit 9, we have to study literary theories like structuralism, post-structuralism, deconstructionism, and feminism, etc. And Unit 10 is about research methods and materials in English. Like what are the methods while doing your research? What are the stages in research? So this was your entire syllabus in which I have talked about the 4 units, which will cover all literatures in English. Then in Unit 5th and 6th, you have to study language and English in India. Then in Unit 7, cultural studies, literary theories and criticism, and research methods and materials in English. So I hope that I was able to clear all your doubts regarding UGC NET English syllabus. If you have any query, you can post your comments in the comment section down below. And if you have any suggestion, you can post your suggestion in the comment section. Till then, keep loving and keep watching Literary Readers. I will meet soon in the next video.